Good morning. I'm your minister, Javier Gonzalez, coming this morning to share a text with you from Luke chapter 10, verse 40. And it says, Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me. Now, this is the story of Mary and Martha from the Gospel of Luke. And to those who are familiar with this story, we know that there's two sisters here, which Jesus came to visit. And one of them, his name is Martha, and Martha is busy preparing the meal, preparing dinner, preparing the task at hand, while Mary sits at the feet of Jesus listening to Jesus talk. Now, for those who are familiar with the story, nobody wants to be Martha. We always kind of look down on Martha, and we even criticize people who all they do are busybodies and are not spiritual people, or for whatever reason are not getting in the Word or spending time with Jesus. And those seems to be the Martha type of people, right? But Martha asked a good question. She asked the Lord doesn't it seem unfair to you? And in other words, she's basically saying, Lord, don't you care? And I think that Martha has some good reason to ask this question, because a lot of times we're not Mary. A lot of us are not at the feet of Jesus, and most people actually in the world are not. Most people are out there are Marthas. They're out there working. They're out there taking care of their children, doing whatever it is. And, whether it be positive or negative, a lot of people seem to be busy. Now, Jesus wishes that most people would be spending time in the Word, spending time in prayer. But he also knows that there's a lot of people out there very distracted at the moment. Well, what Martha asked Jesus is, do you care? And the truth is that yes, Jesus cares. And many times when things are happening to us and we're in financial difficulties and things seem to be going wrong, Jesus feels you, and I feel you too. I've been in difficult circumstances myself. Sometimes the money's not always there. Sometimes you don't have a job. Sometimes just things in your relationships or things that are happening around you kind of got you down. And you ask yourself, God, do you even care? Do you see me? Do you see what I'm going through? And yes, he does. It's interesting that we have to look at all the emotions that people go through. And so does God. God sees your frustration. God sees when things are unfair, when things seem unjust. But it reminds me and takes us to the Psalm 121, which is one of my favorite Psalms. And we're going to turn there for a second. And it's a good reminder that God is always in front of our situation. And the Psalm 121 says, I look up to the mountains. Does my help come from there? My help comes from the Lord who made heavens and earth. Now listen what it says here about God. It says, he will not let you stumble and fall. The one who watches over Israel, the one who watches over you will not sleep. Indeed, he who watches over Israel never tires, and never sleeps. The Lord himself watches over you. The Lord stands beside you as your protective shade. The sun will not hurt you by day, nor the moon at night. The Lord keeps you from all evil and preserves your life. The Lord keeps watch over you as you come and go, both now and forevermore. So as you see, the text here tells us that God doesn't sleep. He's not human like you or me. He doesn't get tired. He doesn't get weary. As a matter of fact, it says that night and day he watches over you, and he is your protective shade, and nothing shall hurt you. Well, those who trust in the Lord, that is our promise to us. That's the good promise to those who acknowledge God as their protective shield and acknowledge God as their provider. And I'm telling you right now, if you're out of work, or if you're feeling sick, or if just things aren't going right in this season of your life, let me tell you that He cares. And let me tell you that while you sleep, He works to get all the pieces in place, all the pieces to fit into the puzzle. And whatever doesn't make sense, He likes to remind us, as He does in Isaiah 55. And let's go there for a second. Isaiah 55. There it is. Isaiah 55, verse 8 says, "My thoughts are completely different from yours, says the Lord, and my ways are far beyond anything you can imagine. For just as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." That's the interesting part, is that when things don't make sense to us, it's just because we don't have a plan. We don't know how this is going to turn out, but let me tell you that God does. God has a plan from the beginning, and God wouldn't have let you go into the storm if He wasn't going to get you through the storm. So trust His ways. Trust that His ways are higher than your ways. Trust that His thoughts are higher than your thoughts. And that in the end, God's sovereign will be completed. Now, one thing that's beautiful about God is the word providence. The word providence means that not only is God sovereign and God has control of all things, whether good or bad, He can make things that seem terrible and things that are possibly not in your favor turn out for your good. But God's providence is that not only is God in control, but God has a purpose for that thing that seems to be out of control. That's financial storm that entered your life, that sickness that entered your life, that tragedy that entered your life. God has a purpose for that. And we might not understand it. We might not even understand it after it happens and after all is said and done. But in God's greater good, He does have a purpose. So trust in the Lord. Trust that He is your shade. He is your protector. And know that He cares. God bless you.